Welcome to ODOT's video on the waiver process for curb ramps that cannot be feasibly constructed. As soon as you become aware that a constraint will prevent a curb ramp from meeting the ADA requirements of ProWag, you should fill out a waiver form. If the ramp does not meet ODOT's requirements, but does meet ProWag's requirements, a waiver is not needed. The need for a waiver may arise either in the design phase or during construction. Either way, the district design engineer will be responsible for approving or denying the waiver. The district design engineer will consider the scope of a project and its purpose and need in reviewing the waiver. For instance, resurfacing projects generally require curb ramps to be updated. If the scope of the project does not include buying additional right-of-way, you should make as many ramps fully compliant as possible. The remaining ramps should be made as compliant as possible without buying additional right-of-way. ODOT has prepared a flowchart to help take you through the steps of obtaining a waiver. You can access the flowchart at the ODOT website. The flowchart applies both to facilities maintained locally and those maintained by ODOT. The flowchart details the steps required to process an ADA waiver, whether the need is identified during planning, design, or construction. The electronic ADA waiver form is used to submit, approve, record, and retain information on waivers. The form requires the final review and signature of the district design engineer, but may be based on information gathered by other personnel to be determined by each district. If there is an ADA waiver for a feature, it should be noted on the title sheet and additional details provided in the general notes. In the general notes, the ramp ID, approval date, sheet number, and reason for the waiver will be detailed. At any point in the design process, when the designer becomes aware that it is not feasible to make a curb ramp compliant, they should notify the ODOT project manager to start the waiver process. Each ramp that does not meet ADA requirements should have an approved ADA waiver form completed and signed by the district design engineer. If another project is carried out at the same location, the designer should determine whether the scope of the project will allow making the ramp compliant. Future projects at a location with a waiver should determine whether the feature could be made compliant based on the scope of the project. ODOT recognizes that it may never be possible to make ramps fully compliant in some locations. Here is the process for obtaining a waiver at the design stage. The designer notifies the district project manager and completes the ADA waiver form. The district design engineer reviews and approves the waiver request and notifies the ODOT project manager. The designer or project manager adds the new ADA asset into the collector app with a status of proposed. The designer or the project manager adds the ADA design waiver to the proposed ramp. The overnight script creates a new unique ID for the ramp and adds LRS info to the record in the collector app. The designer submits completed plans for final tracings. construction project cannot move forward without an approved waiver for each non-compliant curb ramp. Waivers approved during the design phase should be listed in the general notes and on the title sheet of the plans. Here is the process for obtaining a waiver at the construction phase. The contractor notifies the ODOT project engineer of a non-compliant curb ramp. The ODOT project engineer notifies the district project manager and completes the ADA waiver form. The district design engineer reviews and approves the waiver request. The district project manager adds the waiver to the ramp in the Collector app. The district construction engineer finalizes the project. The district construction engineer notifies the district TAM coordinator that the ramp's asset status should be changed to active. The district TAM coordinator changes the ramp's asset status from proposed to active. The district TAM coordinator changes the status of any assets replaced or eliminated to retired. Earlier in this video, we referred to an application called Collector. The Collector app is used to store information about facilities covered by the ADA. You can access the Collector app at the ODOT website. You will need a My ODOT account. If you do not have access to a My ODOT account, please work with your district TAM coordinator to sign up for an account. The Collector app user guide can be accessed here on the ODOT website. In this screenshot from the Collector app, the green dot shows an item in the sidewalk inventory. The blue dot shows an item in the curb ramp inventory. Click on the dot to see all information related to a particular curb ramp.